Hi, my name's Lisa. I'm an employment advisor based in Halifax, and this is our second film. And today we're going to be talking about job searching online using internet job searching sites, but also having a look at some networking online as well and how else you can use the internet to look for work. I'm here with my colleague Felicia, and we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the pitfalls that you might come across while looking online for work. And then later we'll be showing you a practical demonstration on what that might look like for you. Felicia, online job searching.
Okay.
This is a big one at the minute because obviously we've got the pandemic going on, so a lot of things have moved online. How do you feel it goes for people?
I think with online job searching, people, I think they tend to get a bit bored or maybe stuck with the same thing, doing the same thing day to day. So people tend to go to a site that they're comfortable with and stick with that site and then always use that for their job search and don't kind of mix in other techniques or even other sites as part of their job search. So I think showing people kind of ways to access other job vacancies that doesn't necessarily use a job search site, or at least if you are using a job search site, how to maybe streamline the search to make sure that it's focusing on jobs of interest.
Definitely. I mean, one of the sites I like is Indeed, and I know that's a little bit of a cliche at the minute because it's out there a lot. But what I like about it is that it searches every site, including company sites as well. So I do find that when I'm looking for jobs for people, I do start with Indeed. I do vary it, but I do start with that so that, I can see what's out there and have a really good overview of it. The other thing I like about it is that it's really simple to use. It's just very simple search boxes, and then it brings up the vacancies for people to click into. So I think if we are looking at job searching sites, I think Indeed's probably the example that we will use. But you're right, there's so many sites out there and it is worth just having a look at each different one. I suppose some of the things that I hear from people are that you're just repeating yourself. I suppose that's sort of one of the biggest bugbears, isn't it? If you're having to register on 10 different job sites and you're putting your details in again and again, I can imagine that just gets really, really tedious for people. So trying to sort of streamline it and make it less onerous as possible, I think is a good tip, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose one of the other things with job searching online is, yes, use the job searching sites, and we're going to show people later, aren't we, sort of how to do that. But also using the internet outside of that as well and networking almost online. Gone are the days, unfortunately, where you can't just pop out into companies and introduce yourself and have that face-to-face contact. But there are ways in which you can use the internet to discover opportunities that might be out there that are not advertised.
Yeah. So, like you said, using the internet to your advantage. So there's lots of other ways. And the thing with the job search site is, like you said, Indeed is my first go-to one as well. But because it does search a vast range of sites, then if you go onto another site, you're just seeing the same job that you've already seen on Indeed. So using those other methods is really helpful and using the internet to your advantage. So like you said, Google searching companies, I'm really big on just searching for like a range of companies, retail companies in such an area and seeing what comes up, doing a little bit of, looking where they are, what the contact number is, maybe finding a little bit out about them before, but then going ahead and contacting them and seeing what's there. And I also think going directly to company websites sometimes is a good thing. So as much as Indeed does have company vacancies, there are some companies that don't advertise on those sites. So it is good just to maybe just go directly and look on that company website and see if they do have any jobs available that are not advertised anywhere else.
I mean, one of the networking principles, isn't it, is that, 80% of jobs are not advertised.
Yeah.
20% of jobs are, but then 80% of job seekers are applying for those jobs. And what you need to do is sort of, I suppose, break down your competition and try and target those opportunities that are within the 80% of not advertised jobs. And the way to do that is by networking. So you're absolutely right. I think by getting onto, Google or, other search engines are available. But you could actually just pop in there, I don't know, manufacturers in Halifax. What that will do is it will bring up, manufacturing companies, which there are a lot of them within the area that you're looking. And you can actually approach those companies directly yourself, because you never know that company that you've never heard of might actually be needing somebody. So what have you got to lose? Give them a call. So you can broaden your horizons by doing that. I think one of the other points as well is that activity equals results. Unfortunately for job seekers, you do have to do quite a lot of activity before you get a couple of yeses. And, don't take it personally if you get a few no's as well. It is business at the end of the day. I'll just give you an example, sort of somebody who was newly qualified as an electrician, but didn't have any experience at all, which, we all know that's quite important. So we went onto the regulator's website for electricians. I can't remember the sort of abbreviation now. I think it's NIEC something. But we actually searched electricians in the area, and there was hundreds, so we went through that list, phoning every single electrician saying, I'm newly qualified, I need some experience, would you be willing to give me an opportunity? And this person actually did get an opportunity, but it was with a chap who was self-employed. He had his own business as an electrician, but he'd never advertised for anybody. But just by making that phone call, he went, yeah, all right, mate, yeah. Do you want to come and meet me tomorrow for a coffee and we'll have a chat about it? And he got an opportunity that way. That's all networking is. And you can use the internet to your advantage by doing that, I think.
That's very similar to a story with a girl that I worked with, and she'd never worked before but wanted to work in care. So we did the same. We used Yell.com, and we went onto Yell.com and put care homes within so many miles of this postcode. And I think sometimes people might see it as, that's a lot of work, ringing 20 places and none of them might be interested. But all you need is that one place that is interested or potentially might have a vacancy, or they may say to you, well, we don't now, but we are in the future. And giving that call gives you the opportunity to just have a little bit of a chat, so they might, they can hear your voice and, maybe get a sense of this person sounds nice, or they sound really keen, or they seem like they may fit in with our company. So it's giving you a chance to build up a little bit of a rapport with the employer by making a few calls. And if it's a no, it's a no. You've not lost anything, but there is the potential to gain something. I think a lot of people that I work with, in fact, probably 70% are too scared to pick up the phone. But for me, I think that's a really key point to doing your job search is, building that confidence. If you're not confident, but trying to build that confidence to be able to pick up the phone and do the general inquiry that are there any placements, any job opportunities, are there any trials within the company. And a tip that I always give is, just say hello and ask the question. And if it goes wrong, you haven't given your name at that point, hang up, it doesn't matter. Start again. I think rather than not make the call, go in, give it a try. And, a lot of times it builds momentum. I mean, it's not as hard as you expect it to be, but if it goes dreadfully wrong, just forget that one and start again, and you will get better, because the more you do it with anything, the more you do it, your confidence will build up. And I do think it's kind of one of the good tools of job searching is being able to pick up the phone and just make a general inquiry.
Do you know, I always find it really interesting this, because we have conversations with people every day, and many, many, many conversations with people. But as soon as sort of it comes to sort of that employer-employee or potential employer-employee relationship, we absolutely go to pieces. And, I'm not immune to that. I hate going for interviews. I get so nervous about them, But I would class myself as quite a confident person. So it's interesting how that dynamic actually makes us really, really nervous. So one of the things I try to say to people, and if I can heed it myself as well, is, sorry, employers, but don't put the employer on a pedestal. They're a person.
Yeah.
And you're just having a conversation. You know, you're just asking a question, and as you say, Felicia, you've got nothing to lose. Don't worry about it. You know, but it is an important point. You do need to sort of have that communication with that person to get your personality across.
Yeah, I think definitely they are just a person, and sometimes actually the pressure on the employer is just not as much, but they do feel a sense of pressure to get the right person as well. So I think when you can have it as more of a conversation rather than you are here and I am, you know, the person below asking you for a job, it does make it go easier on both sides. So they will get the best out of you, and then you will obviously all get the best out of them in terms of having a conversation.
Definitely. But in terms of online job searching, so what I try to do as well is keep the search really general. I don't know if you do this. So when I go into the search box, I'll leave the job title blank, and then I'll just put Halifax, and then within, say, 5-10 miles. And that brings up every job available within that radius. Now, that may sound like a little bit more work, but there could be roles that you're missing out on because you're really whittling down your search too much. So, you know, you might be looking for a cleaning job, for example, and it might just miss it off the list if that company calls their cleaners something slightly different, you know? I mean, there's all sorts of weird and wonderful job titles for things these days. So keep the search really general, I think, is a key point as well, just in case you miss out on some of those other jobs that you might not have considered before as well. You know, don't just stick to, you know, one particular job. You know, give yourself some credit that actually you've got some transferable skills that might go into another job. So keep your search wide, and then you'll find some vacancies that actually you might consider that you might not have even thought about. Yeah.
And also, and it's something that it can become annoying if you set your preferences and you get the emails, because what the sites tend to do is maybe send you 20, 30 a day and your inbox gets clogged up. So if you are setting preferences, to be quite specific with your references, so within a certain mile radius and a job title, so that will hopefully narrow down. But again, sometimes they do send you things that you may not necessarily pick up within your own search, and that can be quite useful as well.
Yeah, and then if you've got 20 emails a day from Indeed, you might actually miss out, because you might get to a point where you're not going to read them because you're just getting too many of them and you think it's just spamming you. You know, but there could actually be a vacancy in there that you're interested in. I suppose one of the things as well is to, you know, check the job sites as often as you can, really. You know, you might want to download the app onto your phone so that, you know, once you've checked your Facebook or the news or whatever, that you can just, you know, whack onto the app and just have a quick look to see if there's any new jobs in there as well.
One thing that I dislike with job searches, and sometimes that is people feel that they have a need to do it to satisfy certain requirements from places, is the mindset that quantity over quality. So I really hate the one-click apply button on all of the sites, really, reading Indeed, because what people will do is they'll see a title and it kind of fits, and they'll just click the button and say, I've done that one, and I've done 20 today. But within that 20, it's about taking the time to go into the job and really read the job and see, how does this fit me? How does it kind of fit what I'm looking for? Does it fit in with, you know, can you start at that time? Can you get to it at that time? So making sure that the job's right for you. And if it is a job that really does match up with your skills, then take the time to do a quality application, because one quality application can get you further than 20 that you just hit that one-click apply button, which I feel that it makes, not everybody, so I'm not trying to be generalistic, but it can make people's job search activity quite lazy, because you feel that a lot's been done because there's been 30 applications, but they might not necessarily match up with your skills or even what you're wanting out of a job.
I completely agree. I completely agree. I mean, sometimes we might even sort of do the search on the job site, see the opportunity, see which company is recruiting, and we might then just go to that company's website and see if they've got an application pack on their website. You know, a lot of companies have a work for us page, you know, so I think it's sort of using the site to go, oh, actually they're recruiting, they have an opportunity, I know about this, but then approaching them directly about that opportunity. And if you have got the confidence, even giving them a ring, you know, and say, you know, I've seen I've seen this vacancy, I'm really interested. Can I find out a little bit more about it? So that when your application comes in, they've had that conversation with you and they go, oh gosh, that was Joe Bloggs who called the other day. I really like the sound of him. You know, you've got that holistic, all round application rather than, as you say, Felicia, the one click fits all. Yeah.
And there are a lot of job adverts that do say at the bottom, for further information or any questions, please contact. So there you've already been given a contact name and contact number or email. And sometimes even if I don't necessarily have a question, I'll find one to ask just to have the opportunity to ring in. And like you said, build that first little bit of rapport with the company that's recruiting. Because people do remember that was the person that rang, or that was the person that, well, maybe not now, but came in to see us and dropped something off. So if the number's there, in fact, even if it's just to ask if the job's still available, because that initial question may lead to you having a little bit of a conversation. So if there's numbers there, I would always say, find a reason to give them a ring. It might help.
I agree. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Another thing I was thinking, Felicia, with Google for job searching is the Street View application you can use as well. Because obviously at the minute we can't get out and about. And one of the things that I would maybe say to somebody would be to go to like an industrial estate or something where there's quite a lot of companies all in one place, and just call into each company and, you know, speak to them, maybe take your CV with you, whatever else. Because of the pandemic, we can't do that at the minute. So you can get on Street View and you can look, obviously, at the companies that are available in a certain area. So look on your map and try and find like an industrial estate. You can usually identify them on a satellite map, or you can find them on sites like Royal Mail sites using the postcode finder. And then just have a look, you know, on the Street View, and there might be some companies in there that, you know, smaller ones especially, that are not on the internet, you know, they don't have a fully fledged website and whatever else. And you might find that, you know, going down that street virtually, you'll be able to see sort of, oh, there's a sign there of a company that I've never heard of. I might see what they're about. And it just gives you some more options to be able to open up that job search a little bit as well.
So next we're going to show you what we've talked about. We're going to have a practical demonstration on how you can register on a job searching site, how to upload your CV to that and make sure it looks Bobby Dazzler, and also how to look at some of the Google aspects that we've talked about as well. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you is how to set up a Gmail account, and this is because when you do your job searching online, you're going to need an email address. If you've got one already, you can skip this part, but I'm just going to show you how to do it because some people might not. Gmail, I find, is probably the easiest one to set up, so I'm just going to go onto Google, so that's google.com, quite simply, and then in the top right hand corner here, you'll see Gmail, and I'm going to click on that, and it'll take you to a screen like this, and then you just simply go to create an account, and it'll take you to this page. So I'm going to put in the name of the CV that I'm going to be using on Indeed. So it's Tanya Brown. And then I'm going to set my Gmail address. So I'm going to try my name, but it's likely that it has already been used. Yeah, so as you can see here, it says that username has already been taken, because there's people all over the world obviously using Gmail, and there will be some people called Tanya Brown. So I'm going to select one that it's suggested to me, which is this one. So if you just click on it, and then it'll set your email address as Tanya Brown 431. So I'm going to write that down now, just so I've got it and I don't lose it. And then I'm going to set a password, and of course this can be whatever you like. Something you remember though, because a lot of people do forget them. Okay, so click on next. You don't have to put your phone number in there. Gmail uses your mobile number to do something called a security check. So sometimes when you log into a new browser, it will send a code to your mobile number just as an additional security check for you. And you can also put a recovery email address in there as well, which I would actually recommend. I'm not going to do it because obviously I'm just doing this as a suggestion for you, but in real time when you're doing this, I would suggest that you do put these things in. So your date of birth, put my date of birth in, so you know how old I am, and gender. And then next. Okay, so I'm going to choose one of these, go to next, and then you can customize it on here however you want. And just go down to the bottom. This is all about data protection and how they use your data. So if you want to, you can have a read of that and then confirm. And then we've got something more about privacy and agree, if you do agree. So next thing, thinking about it, we should have a Gmail account. There we go. So I'm going to click Smart Features, make my options here. There we go. Just get rid of all of that. So this is your inbox. So you can see here, primary inbox, and that's how simple it is to set up a Gmail account. So what I have here is my email address of tanyabrown431@gmail.com. I'm going to write that down just so that I've got it, and when I go onto my job searching, I can remember it. Good idea to make a note of your password somewhere as well if you're a bit forgetful like me. And then you don't get locked out of your account in future. That, in a nutshell, is how to set up a Gmail account. So as Felicia and I were discussing, one of the ways that we can find jobs at the moment is using the internet, and usually we use a job site, and as suggested, I'm just going to show you how to set up a job site account. The one that I like is called Indeed. I'm sure most people have heard of it because it's all over the TV for a start at the moment. But I like Indeed because it searches all of the job sites and usually some companies too. So it puts all your job search into one place. So I'm going to show you Indeed. Okay, so I'm going to go to the site. Oop, little bit of a technical hitch there. Let's go to good old Google instead. Okay, so the first one that will come up will be Indeed job search if you put that into your Google browser. So I'm just going to click on that. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to set up your account on this. So I'm going to go to upload your CV. So this is the front page of Indeed, and here in the top right, just click on upload your CV. Okay, you can sign in with these accounts, but I'm just going to show you how to do it it's not complicated, but the most complicated way, just in case that you need to do it that way. So you've got a little bit of a guide. So I'm going to put my email address in, and if you remember, we wrote that down. Okay, and your password, which hopefully you've remembered. I am human. Don't you just love these things? Okay, what we're looking for, aeroplanes. So if you've never seen one of these, this is just verifying that you're not a robot, basically. So you need to click on the pictures that it asks for. So it's asking for aeroplanes. So I'm just going to click all the ones that have got an aeroplane in. Is that a plane? Yeah. Okay. So it's confirmed that I'm human, and I'm going to create my account. The password there, by the way, is one that you just set up new. So again, maybe use a password that you'll remember. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to upload my CV because I already have a CV. This is the easiest way to do it on Indeed because it pulls through the information. But if you haven't got a CV, you will need to build one from scratch, which is literally just when you go to that, it'll just ask you the questions and you fill in the boxes. But I do have a CV, so I'm going to click on this button. And then I'm going to select my CV. So just give it a minute to upload. Okay, so what Indeed's telling us here is that it's pre-filled the online CV with the information that it's found in your PDF or your Word CV. So I'm going to review my CV because sometimes, and do bear this in mind, when it pulls through to these sites, it doesn't always get it just right. So I just want to double check that it's correct. Okay, so I'm checking my information. Yes, that's where I live. Yes, that's my mobile. Okay, so I'm going to go next. Okay, so it's pulled through. It's found that I've got GCSEs in geography. But I have got other GCSEs, so it's not quite recognised that I've got others on there. So I'm just going to bring up my CV here. So as you can see on my actual CV, I've got geography, but I've also got history, maths and English lit as well. So I want them to be on my Indeed CV because I want employers to see that I have those as well. So I'll just give you an example of how I add that. So I'm going to put my history GCSE in for you. So I go to add education, select an option, it's a GCSE. Okay, so it was history. It was at the same school, so it's Field Top Secondary School. Okay, and then I'm going to put the years in. I think you might not have to do that actually. I'm just going to save that and see whether... Okay, so if you want to leave the years off your GCSEs, you know, as Felicia and I were talking about putting certain things on your CV and how personal it is to different people. Some people prefer not to demonstrate what their age is on their CV, and some people do. And your age can be guessed really easily from when you did your GCSEs. So that's entirely up to you, but you can leave the year off. You don't have to put that in. So you would just add the other education that it's missed off as you go along. So I'm not going to do that now because obviously we'll be here a while. So I'm just going to click next. And I'm just going to check it's pulled my employment through now. So this is my work experience. So yeah, it's got the right one. So you can see here it's missing the company name here. It's not found my company name there. So I'm just going to go back to my CV. So you can see there that it's Distribute UK. So it's missed off that company. It's not pulled it through. It's not perfect, these things. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to click on this little pencil. This pencil means edit. And it means you can edit that particular bit in the CV. So, there we go, company name. I'm going to pop that in there. Sometimes it actually recognises the company in Indeed. So you can click on it and it will auto-populate for you. And then the third job, you can see there that it has pulled everything through, and I'm quite happy with that. I think it looks quite neat. It's pulled through the bullet points nicely as well. Just a little tip actually when you're uploading a CV to Indeed is if you do save it as a PDF file, it pulls through a bit neater than it does Word. Okay, so what we're doing here on the next page is we're highlighting our skills, and a lot of people skip this, but this is actually really important because when employers search Indeed on their employer account, these are the skills that they put in to look for people. So if you've put your skills in, they can match their search quite easily to your CV and they can find you. So that's always quite useful as well. So I'm going to pop in there a few skills that I've got. Okay, so we've got them in there. Fantastic. Click on next. Okay, and then it will pull through your CV. Okay, so as you can see here on this CV, I'm not quite happy with how it's pulled through my personal statement there. So I'm going to click on the pencil again and edit. And all it's done here, it's just got the spacing a little bit out of sync. So I'm going to change that slightly, just make it a little bit neater. It's important that you take time doing this, just make sure that it looks as good as you can, just to make sure that employers can see that you've actually spent some time and put some effort into it. Okay, that looks a lot better. Okay, so you can notice it takes the address off as well, so don't worry about, from a privacy point of view, that it won't put your full address on there. Okay. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Got my education in there, the skills that I've chosen. So as you scroll down, you can add extra things as well. So you can put driving licence in there, for example, because for some jobs that might be essential. And how long you've had that for. So let's put the years that you've had it. Okay, and in here you can put full, clean driving licence. And if you want, actually, you could put UK driving licence if it is a UK licence. Save that. So you could add other certificates in there as well. So, for example, you might have done a training course in health and safety. So if you wanted to add that in, you could just click on edit. Again, the little pencil. I'm sorry, no, not edit. So you could just click on add. And then we will pop in there health and safety. And then I'm going to pop level 2. I'm going to put the level in there because sometimes that's quite important. And if there's no expiration on this, you can just pop in that there, tick that box, and it won't put an expiry date. And then you just pop in the date that you actually gained that qualification. Save. So you can add as many of them as you like, but just keep it to the essential ones that you feel that employers might want to see. And then we've got other things here. Languages, if you speak a different language, really important to pop that in there. Links, this would be things like links to your, Facebook, Twitter page, LinkedIn. Do remember though, people, that if you're putting that in there, make sure that it's suitable for employers to see. Remember what Felicia and I were saying about that. Just make sure that it's suitable. You don't want to be putting people off with your Facebook posts. And that's the main bulk of the CV. So we're going to save and continue. Okay, so the next thing is that they just want to clarify that you are who you say you are. So they want to confirm your email address. So what will happen is you'll get an email with a link, and that's where you need to confirm your account. So I'm going to go back here to my inbox, which I keep open in a different tab. Okay. And then you'll see here in my inbox, John from Indeed. They're making it personal now, which is interesting. And then you click in there, and then there's a really big blue button here, confirm your Indeed account. And when I click on that, it'll open a new tab. Okay. So you can see here, it's saved your CV, it's all in there. That's fine. Okay. So just click on these, save that. Lovely. There you go. There's your CV done on Indeed. I can now close this tab here because this is the verified account now. If you look on the right hand side, you'll see some settings, and these are your privacy settings. So your CV is set to public by default. Okay, that means it's visible to anybody. Do remember that employers do look on Indeed for CVs for their jobs. So if you want employers to be able to find you, you need to set it to public. Do bear in mind, that the only thing that they will see will be your email address and your telephone number and the things that you've decided to put on there. So if you thought, well, actually, I don't want my telephone number on there, you can edit that again with the pencil and take it out. You don't need to have it in there. So it's entirely up to you depending on how you feel about your privacy. But do bear in mind that if it's not public, employers can't see it. You can set it to private, but they can view your CV, but only if you apply for a job. So if you prefer that, you can do that as well. And that's your CV. That's your Indeed account. Okay, so now we've got our Indeed account, we're going to use it now. We're going to find a job. And if you remember when Felicia and I were talking about job searching online, we talked about one of the tips was keeping things really general so that you're not missing out on some of the jobs that might have different job titles and keywords, so that you're not sort of whittling it down too much and putting all your eggs in one basket. So I'm keeping it really simple, and I'm putting Halifax, and I'm not putting anything in this box to start with, and I'm going to go find jobs. What will happen is this will bring up all the jobs in Halifax that are advertised on Indeed, or that Indeed have found on the internet for you. What's really important is these boxes up here as well, and mostly this one here. So you can see it's defaulted within 25 miles. Now, if you're happy to commute to work within 25 miles, that's fine. But I want to have a look, and I just want to see what's within 5 miles. So I'm going to click on within 5 and see what that brings up. Okay. So we can see that it sorts the jobs by relevance. Okay, as a default, and it's found 484 jobs for us, which is great. When you get into a bit of a role with job searching on the same job sites, you'll start to see the same jobs come up, which is why when I do a new search, I always default it here by date. So I'm going to click on date, and what that will do is it will sort them by the newest jobs available. They will come to the top. So you can see here, it even says there, look, new, and this has just been posted, hot off the press. So that's a real retail assistant, part-time, 7.5. That's quite interesting. I'm going to click on that. And then it just really handily just brings it up on the right-hand side and keeps your search on the left, which is good. So you can have a read of the job. Do you like that? Yeah, I might apply for that. Now, one of the things you will find that may be different on each job is this bit here. So sometimes you can apply through Indeed. So that means it will just send your Indeed CV to that employer. So we'll come on to that in a moment. But for this one, Iceland, they want you to apply on their company site. They don't want it through Indeed because they'll have a pretty strict recruitment process. So I'm going to click on that, and it will open a new tab for me. And then I have to go through, unfortunately, the application online there. So you just work through it, click on apply, and then you would just take you through your application process. So I'm going to close that. Now, the next one on this one, you can see it says here, easily apply to this job. So if we click on that one, you'll see it's changed slightly on this one, and it says apply with Indeed. So that means that I can use my Indeed account to apply for this. So when I click on that, it will take me through the Indeed application process, which is a little bit quicker and a little bit easier. What we're seeing here is that this particular company, Target Tyres, have asked for some additional questions here. So this means that they must have some essential criteria for this job. So if we're applying for this job, they obviously are looking for powder coating experience. I don't have any, but I'm going to pretend that I do. So I'm going to say I've got 5 years experience. Oh, by the way, do not lie about that. This is just me showing you an example. And highest level of education, which I'm going to pop GCSE in there and click on continue. Okay, so you can see that what I'm applying with here is my online CV. This is the CV we've just set up on Indeed. We know that we're happy with it. And if you're happy to use that CV to apply, we can click on continue. Okay. And then it will start to pull these things through. So this is what the employer sees. Okay. So I'm not going to continue because I don't want to actually apply for this job because that will be messing them around. I'm just using it as an example for you. But this is what it looks like when you do an application with Indeed. So when I click on continue now, it will send my CV to that employer, and it will say, I'm interested in this job, and hopefully they will come back to you. So I'm just going to come out of that just so that we're not popping that through. Okay, so that's how you apply for jobs through Indeed. When you've applied for a job, you will get an email per application. So it will send you an email saying you've applied for this job, so you can keep a nice track of what you've applied for. You can also keep track of things on your Indeed account as well. So if I go here, I can save jobs that I like with this little heart. I can go into my profile. I can have a look at my CV. This one's quite important here, which is messages. Sometimes when you've applied for a job on Indeed, the company will send you a message and you'll get a little red dot like you do on Facebook next to the message to tell you you've got a new one. So it might be that instead of ringing you or emailing you, that company's got your CV, they're interested, and they'll send you a message here. So it's really important that you just keep an eye on that as well. So if you're going to be using a job site for job search, just make sure you're checking into it every day just to check if you've got any new messages. It will send you an email, but I would recommend that you pop into it as well and have a look. So that's Indeed for finding jobs. One of the things Felicia and I were talking about was how to use the internet just a bit more wisely when it comes to your job search, and more so than often now with COVID and we're all pretty locked down and we're not allowed out for certain reasons. Using the internet is almost like our window to the world, and we can use that window to network for jobs. So we've looked at Indeed and we've looked at how we can search for vacancies online. And what I'm going to show you is how you can search for companies online, because only 20% of vacancies are actually advertised. There's a big lump of roles and opportunities out there that we're not actually seeing on the likes of Indeed and job search sites and in Windows and wherever else. And this is what we call networking, basically. It's finding those hidden jobs, that hidden job market. And one of the ways that we can do that is we can have a look for companies. So I'm going to have a look. I'm going to think, right, what do I do for a living? What am I looking for? I am a care worker and I need a care job. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to search for care companies. And I'm just going to type in care companies, if I can type, in Halifax. That's where I live. Okay. So this will bring up care companies in Halifax, basically. And I can go through them and I can just look on their pages and see if they have any vacancies, because they might not be advertising on the likes of Indeed. Something that Google does quite well now is this. So they bring up the list and they put it on a map for you as well. So you can go to view all and that will actually take you to this site, which is good. Google Maps, but it's with the companies that you've searched for. So you can see already we've got a number of companies there that we can have a look at. And this is basically what you're doing, you're networking. So I'm going to have a look at this one. I'm going to go to their website. Okay, so you can see immediately here on the front page, join our team. So they've obviously got a page that is dedicated to recruitment. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to have a look at this. Okay, I've got a caregiver here. So it's drivers only, which you tend to find with care jobs, to be honest. But this is just giving you an example. You can do this for any type of job, Okay, I'm interested in that, so I click on that. So you get the idea. So what I've done there is I've gone to their website and I can see that they're recruiting. The other good thing about going direct to a company and seeing on their website is that you go straight to the application process. Sometimes you get a contact here. Look, Rahida Patel. So we can see that, Rahida is a contact. You can find out how you ring them and have a chat about the job. If you've got the confidence to do that, I would really recommend you do that, because you make that employer remember you a bit more as well, so you don't get lost in the crowd. So there's lots of different ways that you can use the internet to network. go back to this. Go back. So I've put my interest into that job now. Great, done that. I've applied for that. Fantastic. Okay, go to the next one. So you can keep going down. Have a look. You know, some of them won't have a site, you know, for jobs, but they will have an area where you can contact them. So often when you go to these sites, the job bit is in the about. So if you can't see it immediately, like the last one, you can go to about, and usually you'll find jobs and careers and recruitment in that bit there. So again, you can apply through the company site. The other thing you could do if they don't have that option is you can go to the Contact Us page. And you can look here, look, there's an email address. So, you know what, there's no option on here to apply, but I'm going to copy that email address and I'm going to send them an email with my CV. So I'm going to go to my inbox here, copied the address. I'm going to compose an email. Okay, and then you would just put a little covering letter to whom it may concern. If you've got a contact on the website, brilliant. If not, this is fine. And then you would just say, please find attached my CV in application for any suitable care roles you may have. I look forward to hearing from you. So you could bump that out a little bit. Of course you can. You know, but just to give you an idea of the networking side, you know, and then you would attach your CV. If you don't know how to attach, I'll show you actually. So you just click on that desktop, and then you just click on my CV. There you go. I'm not going to send that obviously because I'm not actually applying for that job, but it just gives you another way of getting your details to a company that you might want to work for. Okay. And you just work through the list, you know, but you know, as a care worker looking for work, that all of these companies you've searched for are care worker roles, are care companies, should I say. So therefore, they're going to be relevant to the type of jobs, if they have them, that you're looking for. So that's one way of being able to use Google to your advantage when job searching. Another way is looking at Royal Mail postcode finder. So it's a little bit more complicated, but just to give you an idea, I'm going to use Lowfields Business Park in Elland as a little bit of an example here. But what you can do is, you know, on Lowfields Business Park that there's a lot of companies on there, and most of them will be, you know, manual-based sort of manufacturing, distribution type companies. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're just looking for those kind of workers. Great if you're one of those kind of workers, because you can, you know, bob your CV over to them. But also, you know, these companies need receptionists and administrators and managers and, you know, whatever else makes a company tick. So what I'm going to do is on Google Maps here, and I've just typed in Lowfields Business Park and it's brought it up. So you can see here, this is the business park. You can see all these little streets here for this business park. Now you've probably come across before, if you've been unemployed, you've probably come across somebody saying to you, oh, you need to take your CVs out and drop them in at companies. We can't really do that at the minute with COVID. So we're going to use Google Street View to see what's going on. So I'm going to click on satellite, bottom left-hand corner there. And this shows you, look, how many different companies we've got on here. All these squares are buildings with companies in. And I'm going to go to the bottom right-hand corner, and you see this little orange man here. And I'm going to grab him. So I click my mouse over him, my hand grabs him, and then I keep my finger on the mouse and I drag him where I want to be. Okay, so I'm going to drop him. There's quite a lot going on there. I'm going to drop him there. Let's see what's happening. Okay, so this shows us the street view. Okay, So immediately we can walk down the street, but we're just doing it online. So first thing we see, company. I'm going to try and pronounce that. Mitutoyo. Okay, don't know what they are, but what we can do is we can take that and we can Google them. I've never heard of them. What was that again? Mitut. There we are. Okay. Interesting. Try the website. Okay. So, here we are. A company I've never heard of and probably don't advertise on Indeed as well. I'm going to go to the bottom of the page and see if there's... here we are. Job opportunities. Okay, so they do have a job page. Okay, so the head office is not based in this area, but they do have a presence in this area, which they will have staff. So the roles that they've got at the minute are not here. They're in the southeast and southwest, but we do know they have a presence in Halifax. So I think it's worth... Here we go. Look, there's an email address. We can copy that email address, send our CV, and, you know, in that email we can say, you know, I've noticed that you have a site in Halifax, in Elland. Do you have any vacancies? You're basically just asking the question. Please find attached my CV for your perusal. Look forward to hearing from you. Again, you've introduced yourself to another company that you didn't know was there and didn't know was recruiting. What they might do is come back and say, you know, we're not recruiting at the minute in Halifax. Thank you for your time and your CV and whatever else. That's fine. But, you know, you never know. They might come back and go, actually, yeah, do you know what? We are recruiting in Halifax and these are the roles. So if you don't ask, you don't get. That's the main thing. So again, I've just gone around the corner and you can see here, there's another company here, Smith Brothers Contracting Limited. So you would do exactly the same there. And you would Google them, go to their website, check their job page. If they haven't got any vacancies for you to apply for, send them an email with your CV and ask them if they've got any vacancies. And you just keep doing that, basically. You walk down the street and have a look at these companies. I'm a bit nosy, to be honest, so I really enjoy doing this. But I'm a bit sad like that. But yeah, it's quite a useful way of discovering different companies and getting your name to them, basically. It's this one over here. Vapor cloud. Ooh, gosh, okay, that's interesting. So again, you would Google Vapor Cloud Elland and see whether they have any vacancies. So you would just keep doing that, guys, and that just gives you another way of finding potential opportunities for you.